Hello, this is Grant posting again for 2X03 to G03. This is the test take up from, I guess, last Wednesday. Doesn't really matter. If you're in the class, you'll know. If not, you're just using this for practice. So I've got the first question up on the screen here. Make it a little bigger, but it seems that you should probably be able to read it. So what I'm going to do is, if you wrote the test, then just wait a second and I'll take up the answers. If you're doing this for practice, just pause the video and do the question and then come back for the answer. This is only going to be for questions 1 and 2. I'm going to post 3 videos or 4 videos because of the size limits that YouTube imposes on me. So anyways, if you just pause it. Okay, now I'm going to go to the answers for everyone else. Okay, so for U-shaped AVC, I've just written down the pertinent details of the question. Z1 representing the quantity of the input, Y representing the quantity of the output. Marginal product is given from the question, and the price of Z1 is 60, also given from the question. Okay, so the first thing we have to solve is for marginal cost. This is all just about knowing the formulas. Okay, so the formula is this guy right here that you'd want to know. Marginal product equals the price of Z1 over the marginal cost. So with a little bit of rearranging, that formula becomes marginal cost equals the price of the input over the marginal product, which makes sense because we're getting, our cost is 60, we're getting 15 units, therefore marginal cost is 4. The second part of the question was short run average cost. The formula that you need to know there is short run average cost is total cost over Y. Okay. Total cost is comprised of variable cost and fixed cost, so I just separated out total cost into its components, still over Y. Variable cost is the price of the variable input times its quantity, realizing that there can be more than one variable input in this case there's not, plus the fixed cost, which in this case we know nothing about, over the total quantity, which is Y. So putting that into numbers, right, that's 60 times 5 is 300, plus fixed cost over 100. I didn't make any assumptions about whether there was a fixed cost or not, so my short run average cost becomes 3 plus 1/100th of the fixed cost, where, and this is just mathematical notation for the fixed cost, can be anything between 0 and infinity. If we move on, the third section, which said what was marginal product, I guess that was just a reading test because it was given in the question. The next one is average variable cost, right, which is just the variable cost over the quantity. I've already mentioned that variable cost is the price of the variable inputs times their quantities, which in this case is PZ1 times Z1, all divided by Y. Again, we have 60 times 5 over 100, and that's going to equal 3 for your average variable cost. The average product now is the total product over the quantity of the input, right? So how much output are you getting on average per unit of input? So our output is Y, and our number of inputs is Z1, of course. So that becomes 100 divided by 5, and our average product is 20. Okay, so hopefully you got all those right. If you're just taking the course for the first time, learn these formulas. I can't stress that enough. If you're not taking this course for the first time, then you already know how important the formulas are, and hopefully you already know them. If not, it's not too late. Okay, I'm going to go down to the second page where I've written out the second question. If a firm with production function y equals root z1 plus root z2 squared, this whole expression is squared, not each individual component. That wouldn't make sense. And you can read the rest of it, and we'll have the newcomers pause the video to practice, and the people who wrote this test will just hang on for a second, and I'll take up the answers. Okay. So I've written down again the pertinent details of this question. And I've got y equals, and then I've got this production function z1 to the 1/2 plus z2 to the 1/2 squared. Right, square root is just the same as something raised to the power half. I've got that the price of input 1 is 1, and that we've fixed z2 at 9. Okay, so the things we're looking for are average variable cost and short run marginal cost. I'm just going to write those here so that I know what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay. So since we're looking for short run, the first thing I'm going to do is plug in this fixed quantity of z2 into my function. And I am going to skip a step because most of you should know that the square root of 9 is 3. So this is just going to become 3 squared. Okay, so this is my new short run function, right? Because I can't vary the amount of z2 I have because we're in the short run. Okay, now I'm going to go through and solve for z1 as a function of y, which most of you will recognize as a conditional input demand. If you don't, learn what a conditional input demand is. Okay, don't have time to draw a square root symbol. Okay, so I've taken the square root over to the y, and that now equals z1 to the 1/2 plus 3. Okay, now I'm going to subtract the 3 from both sides. Minus 3 equals z1 power half. Now I'm going to square both sides. And it's really important to know that root y minus 3 squared is not just y plus 9. It's y minus 3 times y minus 3. So we're going to square the whole thing. And that's going to be z1 star. That's our conditional input demand for the short run. Okay. So our average variable cost then, because that's the first thing we're looking for, right? So AVC equals, right, just from the first question, VC over Y. Okay, so VC is P1 Z1 star. Okay, we know that P1 is just 1, so I'm going to omit that from now on. So it's just Z1 star over Y. So we get this root Y minus 3 squared over Y. And that is our average variable cost. Okay, and marginal cost, right? So now we're dealing with marginal cost, and that is the derivative of variable cost with respect to output. Again, if you're not familiar with that notation, check out the math review. I think I did something about that. So VC is, right, again, just from this numerator, root y minus 3 squared. And then dVC dy is, okay, so first I take chain rule, take the derivative of the whole expression, 2 times root y minus 3 to the power 1. Okay, times the derivative of what's inside. Well, what's inside is just the square root of y times 1 over 2 root y. Okay, so I can cancel out this 2 with this 2, and marginal cost then is going to be root y minus 3 over root y. Okay, and that's good enough for full marks. So the answers are average variable cost is this guy, and marginal cost is this guy. Okay, and I will see you for the second part of the video.